We use cubes to help us add, and so we can use these place value cubes in a lot of different ways, but we have to remember what they're worth and how that can help us when we go from building with our cubes to sketching. So this first one is 1 unit, and so that has a value of 1. It takes 10 ones to make 1 10, and then it takes 10 tens to make 100. So we have the value is 1 for 1 cube, the value of 110 is 10, and the value of 100 is 100. And we use these same shapes to help us when we go to sketch. So keeping those in mind, let's look at some 3-digit adding problems. We have 314 plus 263. So as I'm looking at this, I have my place value chart, and I'm going to first start off by sketching 314. I could also use my cubes to build this number anytime I'm doing a problem, whether I'm sketching or building. I want to make sure I build one number at a time and then move on to my next number. So I have 314 has 3 hundreds, 1 10, and 4 ones. I can use circles or I can use dots for these ones. And then I have 263. So that has 2 hundreds, 6 tens, and 3 ones. No matter when I'm building or if I'm sketching, I want to make sure I keep that invisible 10 frame. So I have in rows of 5. So that's why my 6th 10 went down here in my next row of 5 instead of being over here. That way I can easily see how many I have in each of my place values. So now that I've sketched each number, I'm going to start adding. So I have 3 hundreds plus 2 hundreds. 3 plus 2 is 5 hundreds, and the value of 5 hundreds is 500. So I'm going to write my values down here. 1 10 plus 6 more tens is 7 tens, and 7 tens has a value of 70. And lastly, I have 4 ones plus 3 ones. 4 plus 3 is 7, so I have 7 ones all together, and 7 ones has a value of 7. So now I need to go through and add all of my values together to create my number. I can also do this by counting, so we're going to do both ways here. First, we're going to count though. So I have 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 510, 520, 530, 540, 550, 560, 570, 571, 572, 573, 574, 575, 576, 577. So my sketch, when I add everything together, is 577, which matches down here 500 plus 70 plus 7. Since I have nothing to regroup, that is all I have to do for that sketch. My building would match exactly, but I would be using my building tools instead of sketching. So let's try this next one. I have stacked my numbers to represent my place value. So I've lined up my hundreds, my tens, and my ones. It's just another way of representing an addition problem. Remember again, when I add that I'm going to have a sum or the answer that is greater than my 2 parts. So here I have 125 plus 632. Again, when I add, it doesn't matter the order because I'm going to have something that is more. So I'm going to start by sketching 125. And then I'm going to sketch 632. Again, I'm using sketching that represents my shapes that I have in my building tools. I have 3 tens and 2 ones. So first I'm going to count my number and then I'm going to write my values. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 710, 720, 730, 740, 750, 751, 752, 753, 754, 755, 756, 757. So my answer is 757. But I want to double check that with my values, of course. So I have 7 in my hundreds, 6 plus 1 more. So that has a value of 700. And then I have 2 tens plus 3 more tens is 5 tens, which have a value of 50. And then 5 and 2 more is 7. So 7 ones have a value of 7. So that gives me 700 plus 50 plus 7. So this is an expanded form of 757, which is in the base 10 numeral. So then my sum is 757. Remember that, again, the sum is always greater than our two numbers that we add together. And if I were to look at this as a bar model for an addition problem, I would have my 2 bars to show that I'm adding things together. And I'd have 125 in one and 632 in the next one. And then their total, or their sum, is what I put in my whole. And that would be 757. Go ahead and try this problem on your own. Pause the video and then unpause it to check your work. 145 plus 531. So for this number, again, I sketched one number at a time. Just like I would build using my tools, I would build one number and then I would build the next number. So I have 145, has 100, 4 tens, and 5 ones. 531 has 5 hundreds, 3 tens, and 1 1. That gives me 5 plus 1 is 600, which has a value of 600. 4 and 3 more is 7, so that would give me 70 for my value of my tens. And 5 and 1 more is 6. So I have 6 ones, which has a value of 6. So my sum is 676. Remember when I am counting that I count by hundreds as I am in the hundreds place. And then I move to start counting by tens. So here I would have 600. Next I'd have 610. And I would continue counting by tens until I get to my ones. So this number right here would be 670. Then I moved to count by 1, 671, 672, and so on until I got to 676. So when we are adding, we want to make sure that we are sketching our numbers or building our numbers first, either counting to find our answer or writing our values first and then writing our sum. Either way, though, I should have 2 numbers sketched and then my values and then my final sum.